Hey, welcome into Football 101. It's Dave Wyman, and Seahawks get a good win, 41-38 over the Houston Texans, but a lot of offense from the Houston Texans, not typical of what we're used to seeing out of the defense. So let's go through the bad and the good. First of all, the bad, 509 yards they gave up, 38 points, 10 plays of over 20, and that's been a little bit of a problem this year. A lot of it was in the run in the past, but this year it's been, this game was about the throws and DeAndre Hopkins and Fuller getting loose. But the good part of it was, now this isn't, this is kind of padding the stats here. Pretty good. This will help them down the road, but only 2 for 10 on third down, but that's because the Texans were so good on first and second down, why they got 509 yards. But they also got 5 sacks. I thought that was a big difference because Russell was protected well. He only had 2 sacks. And then also they got 3 interceptions as opposed to 1 with the Texans. So they went, they ended up going +2 in turnover ratio. So one of the guys getting a couple of interceptions, Richard Sherman. And I was talking to Brock Huard about this because your personality matters in the NFL. It really does. And his stubbornness, number 25, he just always keeps fighting. He'll never give up. And in that first half, there was a couple of times where receiver he was covering caught a pass and won for a touchdown. And so, but he just kind of said, well, I was sleepwalking and they got lucky and they did this and that. But he's just so stubborn that he never gives up. And that's why he got 2 interceptions in the second half. I love that about him. And by the way, check out Brock Huard's Chalk Talk in the morning. Brock knows a lot about football, and anybody that doesn't understand that is foolish. All right, so let's check out first before we go to, we're going to talk about the Earl Thomas interception. But first, let's talk about what they did on the touchdown, and in which you saw Earl Thomas get beat deep a little bit here. So he's in the middle of the field here. What they were running is cover 3. So, you know, and there's a couple of things that can hurt cover 3. A lot of it is the underneath routes. But here we go. We got Shaq Griffin dropping off. Earl's in the middle. And Sherman's got the other side, and then you got 4 droppers underneath. Here's what the Texans did. Max protect. And so what they did, this is a tight end. He comes in here and stops right there before the snap, and then he comes across and blocks on this side. You got these guys all blocking here, plus the running back staying in. So really all you got was a 3-man route out of this. But what was really, and he runs off Sherman, but really what was bothering Earl and this defense a lot was this deep crosser coming across here, and that was something that was open a lot of the game and was kind of a problem for them because it was hard for these guys to get back, and Cam does a good job getting back underneath this, but the linebackers had some struggles with that. And then here's Fuller, who goes deep here, and that's where they end up. And really Earl's back in his drop, and he just took one bad step, just one step, and up on thinking about helping out with the crosser, and that's when Fuller, and I think they might have underestimated his speed, and also Deshaun Watson just throws a beautiful ball downfield. It was like throwing a ball into the back window of a car going 25 miles an hour. It was right on target, 64 yards in the air. So sometimes that's going to happen to you, but really what happened here was Earl just took one bad step. On the next series, Earl Thomas was able to redeem himself for that one bad step. And what the Seahawks were in on this play was cover 2 man. I don't know if we've talked about that. Pretty simple, and I really like this coverage because you end up getting 2 guys deep over the top to help. You know, we talk about cover 1. It's man-to-man. You got just 1 guy deep. Cover 0 is you're manned up across the board. It's a blitz, and you got nobody deep. But 2-man is great because you got really athletic linebackers and defensive backs for the Seahawks, and they're able to match up with these guys. So it's just him on him right there. Sherm actually has DeAndre Hopkins there. Bobby Wagner has the running back, man-to-man. Over here is the tight end, and KJ Wright has him. And then these guys they sit back and help out. And what happened on this one was Earl just anticipated this crossing route really well. And so you can see him sitting in his stance before the play starts, and he's kind of going like this with his fingers, like he's really excited. It was like he knew something was coming. But what happened was these guys ran off here, and he was over here and just took KJ sort of out of the play. KJ, no problem. And a lot of times what will happen is, as a safety, your rule is usually help the linebacker. Help the linebacker out instead of the defensive back, because they probably are most likely to struggle in coverage. But KJ, no problem covering this tight end. So he just sat back here in this zone. Cam went back and was looking for something coming off this side, and DeAndre Hopkins ends up running this route right here, and Sherm's really on him pretty tight, but Earl jumps it right here, makes a big pick right there, and then takes it to the house. And by the way, Sheldon Richardson, who was rushing, he gets a great block, and it's tough where, you know, he's rushing the quarterback and pushing the offensive tackle back, and he quickly recognized that Earl had the ball and turned around and got a block on an offensive lineman. And then the other thing, because Earl had been kind of beaten by Deshaun Watson, I thought it was very redemptive for him that when he made his run back, he put a little move inside on Deshaun Watson and was able to take it to the house and sort of atone for that touchdown that they gave up later. So big play by Earl Thomas, cover 2 man, and this defense has them at 5-2. I know it wasn't a great performance, but they did get the 5 sacks and the 3 interceptions, and they did what they needed to do to win.